welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. These are the weeks that were, are, and shall be. Let's begin with what I've been up to on the channel. I have had, since the last time I made an episode of the weeks that were, I have had two discussions on the Adan Trilogy. These have been so much fun. I have enjoyed every single one of these discussions with my very special guests. And every single one of them has brought unique questions, and they have been such rich discussions. And if you're not aware, they begin spoiler free. So even if you haven't read even the first book, you could theoretically listen to some of the conversation without being spoiled. And then we go on to spoilers for book one, and then book two, and then the trilogy as a whole. And I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to talk to readers and hear what their experiences are with the book as well. So it's a lot of fun. I've also done two episodes of Dear Dr. Fantasy, one with Tori from Tori Reads, and the other with Colin from Colin's Corner. And I had a blast with both of these individuals, really kind, wonderful people. It's such a great thing to be on this platform, in this community, with so many really just fantastic individuals who are passionate about fantasy and about reading and talking about reading. So I love the Dear Dr. Fantasy. I love the opportunity to get to know my fellow booktubers a little bit more. And yeah, just have a lot of fun there. Also, I released a video on my reading plans for 2024, and that video got some traction. So hopefully I'll be able to get to most of those series in the year ahead. I'm very excited actually for quite a few of these reads, resuming some series, starting some new ones, and rereading some old favorites. So I think it's going to be a fun year here on BookTube. Also, I had a discussion of Fugitive Prince. This is part of the Wars of Light and Shadow, book 4 to be precise. And I had a great time talking about that with A.P. Canavan and Joanna. Jenny Wirtz has written a tremendous series here in the Wars of Light and Shadow, and every book that I read, I'm more and more convinced that this is one of the great epics of the genre and deserves to be discussed along with the Malazan Book of the Fallen and Realm of the Elderlings as some of the most complex and beautiful and wondrous series that literature has to offer. And continuing with my recent videos, one, speaking of traction, one that got quite a few views is my best of 2023, or my favorite reads in 2023. Quite a few people tuned in to hear about my favorite reads, and that's fantastic. I got to hear from a lot of commenters about what they read and loved, and some of those things are books that I want to read in the near future as well. So I love that kind of thing. A lot of rich interaction there, and it's fun to celebrate the wins. It's fun to celebrate the books that we love and to spread the news about how wonderful they are. Also, I made a little video, a thank you video for the wonderful year that 2023 was, with everything going on the channel, plus all the publishing of the Adan Trilogy and everything else. So I really could not feel more grateful for the support and the love around here. It's just wonderful. And I've also been reading The Sandman and talking about that with A.P. Canavan and Varsha from Reading by the Rainy Mountain. So that has been a fun series to get into. I was confident I was going to love Neil Gaiman's masterpiece. I don't know why I hadn't picked it up before. It just hadn't happened, and now I'm glad I am rectifying that. And what else have I been up to? Oh, I had a really, really wonderful discussion, a really cool discussion on the Bhagavad Gita, which is an episode from the great epic, the Mahabharata. And this is one of the most important epics, one of the most important stories known to humanity. And I think it is something that everybody should try to engage with at some point or other. But I had the opportunity to talk to William Wharton, who is a collaborator on a translation of the Bhagavad Gita, which is a fairly short read. It is just an episode from the Mahabharata, which is a very big epic. But it's a deeply philosophical and probably the best known episode from that greater epic. And it's all about the idea of duty, the idea of transcendence and connection and oneness with the universe, and all kinds of really mind-blowing, amazing stuff. And talking with that translator, William Wharton, was a beautiful experience. He is a Marine veteran who saw combat during the Vietnam War, and a lot of what he was doing in producing the translation was trying to deal with his experiences. And he went to school for a very long time, took many, many years, not only to learn Sanskrit, but to do this right. And he's worked with some really amazing people in the process as well. So that was a really, the people who watched that video got a lot of great comments. And I think a lot of people found that discussion quite moving. So I highly recommend checking out that video, especially if you're curious about the Bhagavad Gita. And I also had a wonderful discussion on the first few volumes of Descending Stories, which is the latest manga I'm reading along with Murphy Napier, and Alan from the Library of Alexandria has joined us for these discussions, and it has been a lot of fun so far. We've had the first four, and yeah, it's actually one of the best manga experiences I'm having so far as well. Excuse me, I've been getting over a flu, actually. I don't know if you could tell in any of my recent videos, but I've been having a little bit of a cough. So hopefully I will get through this all right. If you see a bunch of jump cuts, you'll know why. But yeah, back to Descending Stories. Really great manga. I'm enjoying it tremendously. I'm very glad that we picked this up. I love stories that are about telling stories, and there's a lot of that. Descending Stories is about a very particular form of storytelling that is part of Japanese culture, and it goes back hundreds of years, but the story is set in the 20th century. And it's really cool. It's just a really amazing experience to learn about this art form, but also just to have a great story being told for me. And it delves into all kinds of interesting experiences, but also just focuses beautifully on why we tell stories and what do we get out of it, and how do we dedicate ourselves to an art. So it's just a lot of great stuff in there. And I also produced a review of sorts, just sort of my thoughts on the Greenbone Saga, which I finished a little while ago. And I will be hopefully having another discussion, to finish out our discussion series on that trilogy, the Greenbone Saga. And I had one on Jade City here on my channel. And then Taylor from Made Between the Pages hosted the discussion on Jade War. And Bookborn is going to be hopefully hosting our discussion of Jade Legacy, which I'm really looking forward to very much, sharing my thoughts with those wonderful people. Also, Jimmy from the Fantasy Network has been part of these discussions, and joining us will be P.L. Stewart. So it's going to be a great discussion on the third book, Jade Legacy, but also I think we'll just talk about the trilogy as a whole. So what am I reading now? Let's see here. Well, I am finishing up this big book right here, Robin Hobb's Assassin's Fate. It is the longest book in the realm of the Elderlings. It is the final book in the realm of the Elderlings, as well as the final book in the Fitz and the Fool trilogy. And wow, I will be, of course, making a video sharing my thoughts when I finish Fitz and the Fool, when I finish this book. And I hope to be in discussion with Mike over at Mike's Book Reviews, and I hope maybe some of the others we've been in Realm of the Elderlings discussions with previously might also participate, but definitely I will be at least talking to Mike about this experience. He's been ahead of me the whole time because he's just so organized and on the ball, and I am not, but I am finishing up, Mike. I'm almost there. This book is so big. I still have 300 something pages to go, and I read all this already. So, yeah, I had the flu. Here's my excuse. I had the flu, and I was getting ready for the semester, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it is Robin Hobb, and it is Realm of the Elderlings, and of course I'm loving the experience. But this one is taking me a long time to get through, and I'm anticipating in these last few hundred pages that it's going to be quite an experience. We will see. I do have my tissues ready in case. I'm anticipating that I'll be needing them. And what else am I reading? I am continuing with Descending Stories and continuing the discussion series with Murphy and Alan. And as I said a moment ago, I'm really enjoying this experience. And it's not very long. They're just 10 volumes. So we'll finish that up, and then I will be reading One Piece. I will be tackling one of the big manga out there that everybody's been telling me I should read for the last couple of years, and excited to see what all the hubbub is about. So let's see. And I will be talking about One Piece with Murphy as usual, and also joining us in that discussion series is going to be Mike from Mike's Book Reviews. So that's going to be something to watch out for. I'm very excited. I think we're going to be beginning this in February, and it's going to be a load of fun. So I hope that if you're interested in that, you'll be able to join us for that. And after I finish with The Realm of the Elderlings, Assassin's Fate, I'm going to resume reading Bold Ascension by Von Roycroft. This is book 2 in the Sundered Nation trilogy. I absolutely love the first book, Severing Sun, and I am so excited to get back into this world that Von has created based on the interactions between the Goths and the Romans, and that's right up my alley. I love that sort of thing. Plus, I just love Von's writing, and I can't wait to finish Bold Ascension. And I'm going to be continuing to read more self-published fantasy in the month of February, especially. I'm going to get rolling on my reading of the finals in SPFBO. There are 9 finalists that I need to read. I put one of the finalists there, so that's the 10th. So I don't have to read that one, and that is, of course, Murder at Spindle Manor, which I really adored. But I'm looking forward to reading all the other entries in the finals. I think there are some great books that I have been hearing about, and I'm excited to get into. And I'm also in February going to be reading Jenny Wirtz's Grand Conspiracy, continuing in the Wars of Light and Shadow. And this is book 5, and I'm really excited for this. And of course, I'll be continuing to discuss these books with Joanna and with AP. And I mentioned the Sandman earlier. I'll be continuing to read that as well. AP, A Critical Dragon, is going to be hosting our next discussion. We're going to cover, I think it's just the next 4 of the issues from the Sandman, which will be issues 17, 18, 19, and 20, and including A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is, I think, a big favorite for a lot of people. So be on the lookout for that discussion. I anticipate it will happen in probably late January or early February, and I'm really excited to continue in the Sandman. So that's what I've been reading. That's what I've been up to. I have other things on the horizon. I haven't quite decided the order of yet, but I really am thinking about resuming my Earthsea read, continuing with the last couple novels there, the short story collection rather, and the last novel. And then I also want to resume Dresden this year, and also resume The Second Apocalypse by R. Scott Baker. So those are all things I'm thinking about. I'm not sure the order of all these things yet. I also want to start some new things. This year's going to be exciting with Sun Eater in my sights, and Bound and the Broken, Dandelion Dynasty. So some big ones that I want to start, and I'm excited for. I just don't know exactly when. But I'm thinking 2024, these are going to happen. So I do want to share some book news for the Adan Trilogy with you guys. I'm really, really excited about this. 3 really cool bits of news. One, thank you so much, because The Way of Adan made it to the finals in the Indie Ink Awards. This is something that first the book has to be nominated. Then there's a voting stage, and among the hundreds of books that are nominated, the 10 books with the most votes go on to the judging stage, the finals. And The Way of Adan was nominated for 9 categories in the Indie Ink Awards, and it went to the finals in all 9 of those categories. Thanks to you guys. Thank you so much. I can't believe it. I was blown away when I got the email. It said, "You're in the finals, congrats," in all these categories. And I was like, what? I didn't think it really had, to be honest, a significant shot at making it to any of the finals for any of the categories, simply because there are certain types of books that really do tend to dominate in publishing in general, but also this goes for self-publishing. Romance is a huge category. And so fantasy is just kind of a little in comparison. So I really wasn't sure if I had a chance, but we did it. We made it to all 9 categories. Just amazed by it. And this is wonderful because now I get to say that The Way of Adan is a finalist in 9 categories for the Indie Ink Awards. So I think I get a little badge for each one of those categories. So that's really cool. And who knows? Now it's in the hands of the judges. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm really just grateful and incredibly excited that we're in the finals. It's a really great way to have a light on the book and hopefully get some more readers. So thanks so much. The other bit of news is that the plans for the special edition of The Way of Adan are going forward with the broken binding. Very excited about that. We're still very early stages, so no official announcements or images or anything like that. It'll be quite a few months, but I'm excited about a few things that we're planning for it. Going to have a very special foreword written by an author whom I deeply, deeply admire. One of my favorite authors of all time is going to be writing the foreword for the special edition. That is something that has been agreed on. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I will be very excited to share news with you as it comes on that special edition that I'll be working with the broken binding. I have to pinch myself when I say that. It's a dream come true, really, to be able to work with them. So yeah, I'll be informing you when more news comes along for that. And finally, the audiobook also is coming along for The Way of Adan. Alan from the Library of Alexandria is my narrator, and he has been sharing chapters with me. And I cannot tell you how excited I am for people to hear his narration. He is brilliant at this thing. It's going to be so much fun. He does voices really well. I mean, he does voices. Those of you who are familiar with his channel know that Alan has a range of different voices he can do, and he's bringing that full range to his narration. It is going to be a blast. I'm so excited. He's going to be a famous audiobook narrator, I'm convinced. And I'm happy that the Adan Trilogy is going to be his first foray into this. But yeah, I'm excited for people to get to hear it. I don't have an official release date yet because Alan is still working on it, but the chapters are flying. And I'm hoping I'll be able to make an official announcement perhaps at some point in February when we'll know exactly when the first audiobook will be released. So yay! And yeah, lots of other exciting things are going on. I'm going to be taking part in TBR Con. Very excited about that. That's a big online conference that is going to be happening in very soon. It's going to be starting up basically the last part of January. I'm going to be in a TBR versus mood reader panel. There are some familiar faces there, I'm sure, for many of you among my fellow panelists. And I'm very much looking forward to having that conversation, just taking part in the broader conference. It's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, if you haven't heard about TBR Con, that is something for you to definitely check out. You can find out about it. There are all kinds of announcements on Twitter, on YouTube. I'll try to include a link in the description so that you can find out about it. I'm also going to be a guest of the Legendarium. I'm going to be chatting with Craig again. I'm really excited for that. I had a chat with him about Beowulf earlier, and now we're going to be talking about self-publishing and about the Adan Trilogy, and hopefully I'll be able to share what little wisdom I have about the self-publishing process. I'm really looking forward to chatting again with Craig, though. And he's doing a great thing, obviously, with his podcast. That's the main thing, really, is the podcast. But there is also a YouTube channel that basically where he puts out the podcast as well. So you can check it out either way. And I'm going to be a guest in lots of upcoming discussions in and around BookTube. One that's already filmed is a discussion with King Crusoe, runs a great channel. And that is on the Adan Trilogy and publishing and all kinds of stuff, writing. He is a fellow booktuber, also aspiring writer, and a great fellow who really did some great reviews of the Adan Trilogy on Goodreads. Did a fabulous job with his reviews. And I'll be in a bunch of other discussions, which I will announce on my community tab as they come. But yeah, it's just so great to be around. It's wonderful to be in all these discussions, to be here with you guys and sharing our enthusiasm for the fantasy genre. So please leave your comments, and I look forward to interacting with you all. That's it from me for now. Until next time.